After watching countless YouTube videos and scrolling through Reddit forums, I'm finally making sourdough. I suck at baking and my experiences with dough were traumatizing, so I made sure to find something easier. This means I'll be using an unfed starter so I don't have to track when it peaks, no stretch and fold, no kneading, and no Dutch oven. I combined Ben Starr's recipe and the breadcoats baking method without a Dutch oven. The plan. This starter plan is by Shebakesourdough, which I think is quite straightforward because you just feed it the same amount every single day. So on day 1, you feed it 1 tablespoon of water and 1 tablespoon of flour and mix. Then you wait for 24 hours. And on days 2 and 3, you continue to feed it once. Then from day 4 onwards, you feed it twice. And by day 8, the starter should double after every feed. I'm using unbleached whole rye flour because it's rich in nutrients and microbes, which will help your new little baby starter to grow to be big and tall, unlike me. For day 4 onwards, I'll feed every 12 hours.
How it went.
On day 1, Xiao Suan, aka Little Sour, was born. I'm not using a real tablespoon, but I think what matters is the ratio. So what happened was I added a heaping this spoon of flour, which was too much, so we added more water. And I kept finding dry bits of flour, so you really have to mix it very well. And then on day 2, which is 24 hours later, there was a bit of a pop sound when I opened the jar, which means there's gas and Xiao Suan is alive. I added an actual spoon of flour this time and a spoon of water and mixed. Then on day 3, it started smelling kinda bad, and there was even more gas buildup, so after feeding it, I didn't close the lid all the way, which is actually how you're supposed to do it. And then on day 4, it smelled so pungent, but you know they always say trust the process. So I just gave it the same amount of flour and water every 12 hours. But there was a big problem because even by day 9, Xiao Suan was clearly dying because it wasn't growing, and there were only a few bubbles at the top every day. And it was really stinky. So of course I went to Reddit for help, and Lulu Paxki said Xiao Suan was starving and I should discard most of it and leave just 20 grams of starter, then feed it 20 grams of flour and 20 grams of water from now on, which is a 1:1:1 ratio. But ain't no way I'm doing that, okay? I ain't throwing nothing. So I just eyeballed it and doubled the amount of flour in the jar and added the same amount of water. Afterwards, I always fed it 3 heaped spoons of flour and 2.5 spoons of water instead of 1 spoon each. I didn't want to discard anything, but I was running out of space, so I transferred some into another container to make sourdough discard recipes, which will come out next time. And I also found out it's easier to mix with a spatula because you can scrape down the sides too. Finally, on day 15, Xiao Suan almost doubled overnight and looks really healthy. This is what it looked like after 12 hours of feeding, so I fed it one more time and put it in the fridge right after that. Long story short, my starter wasn't growing. It turns out it was starving, so I doubled whatever was in the jar and fed it more than what I've been doing, and it survived. So kids, what did we learn? Loosely cover the lid, mix with a spatula, mix really well, and if it stinks, it's hungry, so double it and pass it to the next person.
Sourdough.
And then, one day at 12 AM, I suddenly had the urge to make it, which at this point, my starter has been in the fridge for 40 hours. So I took it out and added 113 grams of starter, 340 grams of filtered water to a bowl, and then stir it. Then add 567 grams of bread flour and 20 grams of salt. Then mix everything. If you can't already tell, I'm super terrible at this. Afterwards, use your hands to mix. And I don't know if you can feel me cringing right now, but it was a lot. Ben Starr said the parts where you mix with your hands only takes 15 to 20 seconds to bring everything together, but I was mixing for so long and it still looked like that. And part of me was like, this isn't enough. But another part of me said it's not changing and it's been way longer than 15 to 20 seconds, so this has to be it. It must be a skill issue. Anyway, I left it on the counter for the first rise, and it took 12 hours to double. At least I think this is doubled. Ben Starr said it could take even less than that. Even 8 hours might be enough for it to double.
Oh!
And now it's really obvious that this wasn't mixed enough, but I shaped it like how he said. I really tried. I didn't know what to do with the clumps, so I just hid them. He didn't give any instructions, so So I tried to shape it like So I tried to shape it like Ben. I don't know how many times I watched his video before I did this, and I was actually watching it while I was doing it too.
Rotate and pull. Rotate and pull. Over and over again. It should take you less than 10 turns to get this dough really nice and tight.
So after you shape it, you just have to let it rise again, which is super straightforward. So because his recipe doesn't involve any kneading or stretch and folds, we can just shape it and then leave it for the second rise. And he said that if it takes between 8 and 12 hours for the first rise, then the second rise should probably be an hour. So I don't know, probably means, we're just gonna take it. If the starter is sleepy, then the second rise should be 90 minutes. But since my starter is new, I thought maybe I should let it rise for 75 minutes. I think that's a calculated guess.
Baking.
So moving on, I got a pizza stone. So I removed it from the package and washed it with water and soap because duh, it's new and dirty. But it instantly absorbed all the water because it's so porous. So I was like, is it really clean? And then this huge brain idea crossed my mind. At least I thought it was one. So I smeared olive oil all over it as if it's a baking tray to season it or just prevent the bread from sticking, I guess. So apparently in a span of less than 2 minutes, I did everything you're not supposed to do to a pizza stone. Wow. Just wow. Since I don't have a Dutch oven, I'm using the bread coats method of placing an inverted tray to trap steam. This was the setup. A tray of hot water at the bottom and an inverted tray on top to trap the steam so it acts like a Dutch oven. And then finally, I scored it widthwise. I don't know why I did it like that. I mean, I knew it was lengthwise, but I just dirt, I guess. Anyway, I'm pretty sure my knife wasn't sharp enough, but at the same time, I didn't know how to test it. What am I supposed to cut? Someone needs to make a really comprehensive guide because this is some next level stupidity. So I preheated the oven at 225 degrees. Then I baked it for 30 minutes before removing the tray of water and the inverted tray on top. And baked for another 20 minutes for the crust. The bread coat said you can do it for 10 to 30 minutes depending on how thick and dark you want the crust to be. I actually wanted to bake for another 15 minutes only, but because I left the oven open for a while, filming this part, I played it safe and baked for 20 minutes.
The review.
And it's done! Woo! I cooled it for 2 hours at 31 degrees because it's super hot here. There's some dough stuck on the pizza stone and the bottom looks really undercooked. And the inside was still quite warm, so I should actually wait longer. But I give this a 6 out of 10. Even though the texture is quite gummy, it doesn't bother me that much. And the sourness slaps. If anything, I hope I encouraged you to do what you're bad at because a sourdough won't make itself, if you know what I mean. Because I also don't. In the meantime, do check out my other stuff, yay!